British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon and welcome to BCIT's The Crow. I'm your host, Alessio Cusano, and here are your news headlines to 3:30. The alcohol-free beverage market has seen an increase in demand over the last 5 years. Our reporter Sophie Hansen has more on how local liquor businesses have kept up with the new beverage trends.
According to Statista Canada, overall alcohol consumption has decreased in the last year. Statista also reported that, quote, Gen Z Canadians were the most likely to say they were reducing their alcohol consumption. Jeff Ginyard, executive director of Able BC, says the liquor businesses have had to include non-alcoholic suggestions in order to satisfy the new generation of customers.
Right in the menu with non-alcoholic or low-alcoholic cocktails they've made. You started seeing this trend I guess a couple of years ago was when it started, and now you'll find most major brands or most popular pubs and bars have that section in there.
Ginyard says the Able BC board is always recommending changes based off of new consumer trends. Sophie Hansen, BCIT's The Crow.
Reporter Sophie Hansen joins us now in studio. Welcome, Sophie.
Thanks.
So why are younger generations opting out of alcoholic beverages and going for low to no alcohol choices?
There are a few different factors at play, and one that Jeff highlighted was the fact that younger consumers have taken to vaping or consuming cannabis, which does not mix well with alcohol. Another idea is that younger generations are hoping to live more, quote, sustainably. So, of course, businesses are pivoting to satisfy those markets without losing any revenue.
So Oktoberfest starts next week in Vancouver. What are steps have been taken in order to include those who don't drink?
That's a great question. Vancouver has been really progressive when it comes to marketing and selling non-alcoholic beverages, even to events that center around alcohol. Some venues are taking that extra step to provide consumers with the option of alcohol-free packages.
Awesome. Thank you, Sophie. The NDP has shared a video of BC Conservative leader John Rustad saying he regrets getting what he describes as the so-called vaccine against COVID-19. The video shows Rustad addressing a camera and saying vaccine mandates were not so much about achieving herd immunity or stopping the spread of infection as they're about, quote, shaping opinion and control of the population, end quote. This video shared by the NDP is an edited version of a video posted online by the BC Public Service Employees for Freedom, a group of former workers who believed they were discriminated against because they did not get vaccinated. Rustad wouldn't comment directly on the video at a campaign event in Surrey this morning, saying he hadn't seen it, and for him, the most important thing is tackling affordability challenges within the province. Conservative leader John Rustad has announced a proposal for a BC rent and mortgage rebate, calling it the Rustad rebate. A statement from Conservatives says the rebate could begin by exempting $1,500 per month from provincial income taxes in Budget 2026. It would then increase by $500 per year to $3,000 per month. Rustad says the rebate would help renters and homeowners alike, offering real relief to BC residents feeling the pinch of high housing costs. People have different ways of relieving stress. Some go to the gym, some hang out with friends or make art. Our reporter Emily Dominion spoke with the owner of a therapeutic pottery studio on how pottery is stress relieving.
In a study done by Statistics Canada, it shows that over 20% of Vancouverites are above the average stress level. With therapists being difficult to find and expensive, this leaves people turning to other options. Celine Wells owns Secrets of the Kiln Pottery Studio in North Vancouver. Wells says you won't be going home with only a mug, it will be joined by a sense of relief.
Pottery requires a lot of focus in a way that allows you to sort of disconnect from yourself and from your thoughts, and pottery requires you to kind of shift that focus into the medium, which allows you to tune out the world and tune into the present.
Wells also says that relief like this is hard to find elsewhere. Emily Deneen, BCIT's The Crow.
Reporter Emily Deneen joins us over the phone now. Hello, Emily.
Hi, Alessio.
Hi. So, Emily, has Celine seen an uprise in more customers? And if so, has she shared why?
She has. She mentioned to me that her business always picks up in the fall because people aren't going outside as much as they used to, and they need to find another activity to keep themselves occupied. She has also said that she gets a lot of customers that sit in front of their computer all day. So she mentions that they like pottery because they really get to use their hand and make a physical work of art instead of something that's seen on the screen.
And how does Celine feel when she teaches these classes?
So Celine says that she enjoys teaching these classes because she gets to see the joy that comes from making the pottery. And she also likes helping people who are struggling to be stress-free. So she lets everyone take their anger and their stress out on the clay. So they hit it, they punch it, or whatever. And it will eventually become a work of art.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily.
Thanks, Alessio.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Melanie Joly and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met with Haiti's Prime Minister Gary Conille today ahead of the 79th meeting of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Conille stepped into his role earlier this year after the former Prime Minister was forced out amid surging unrest and violence by criminal gangs. Joly says the international community has a role to play to help bring about stability to the Caribbean country. Joly says Canada continues to fund support while other countries provide boots on the ground in forms of police.
Clearly, what is happening in Haiti is catastrophic. We are seeing the numbers, and we're seeing too many innocent children, innocent women, innocent men facing famine and facing real hunger issues.
Prime Minister Trudeau is set to appear on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert tonight. House of Commons House Speaker Greg Fergus has asked MPs to improve behavior after last Thursday's question period got rowdy. Tensions between NDP leader Jagmeet Singh and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre reached a high when Singh walked into the aisle to yell at Poilievre. Fergus reminded MPs that they are a representative of voters and that they were a number of questions not relevant to the administration and government, and words said that fall out of what is acceptable in the House. September 23rd marks the beginning of Gender Equality Week in Canada. Our reporter Spencer Pomeroy tells us more about the importance.
This year's theme of Gender Equality Week is Economic Power Through Gender Equality. Since 2018, the government has contributed over $430 million to over 930 projects in the Women and Gender Equality Canada's Women's Program to advance gender equality. According to the Minister of Women and Gender Equality and Youth, this week is to reflect on the importance of advancing gender equality, addressing persistent barriers and gaps, and celebrate the progress made so far. Spencer Pomeroy, BCIT's The Crow.
The BC Unclaimed Property Society says more than $218 billion in dormant assets are waiting to be claimed in the province. That's after the nonprofit organization said it returned nearly $3.9 million in assets to the rightful owners, calling it a record amount. The society says it also received record submissions totaling $34 million in doormat funds from organizations including courts, credit union, insurance companies, and various levels of government. Grain workers at Metro Vancouver terminals are set to start striking tomorrow. The Grain Workers Union Local 333 says in a notice posted to Facebook that it served the Employers Association with a 72-hour strike notice at 7 a.m. Saturday. It says the union's bargaining community made the decision after Vancouver Terminal Elevators Association, quote, invested very little effort, quote, during the negotiations last week, and it's now up to the employer to present a proposal for a new contract. A statement issued by the Employers Association says it concluded consultation with the union with assistance from the Federal Mediation and Consolation Service on August 26, but they couldn't come to an agreement. Those were your 3:30 news headlines. I'm Alessio Cusano, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good morning. I'm Lauren Achille, and this is your latest sports update to 3:45. The Vancouver Canucks have wrapped up their training in Penticton, BC. This was the first camp held in Penticton since the fall of 2010. Head coach Rick Tocchet speaks on his experience during the camp and how successful it was.
Well, I'm just impressed with the whole week and 10 days we've been up here. Cities treat us great, the fans. It's just a special place to be. I think the management really loves it up here. I thought the trainers loved it. It was very smooth. And then obviously when you could raise money for charities like that, it's incredible. So it's been a great 9 days experience for me.
Moving on to tennis, there is a push for gender equality in the tennis world. Canadian tennis player Bianca Andreescu is advocating for equality when it comes to what athletes are paid. Her latest push was seen on Tennis Canada campaign. This video consisted of discussions about the color lilac purple, a color that has been previously used to represent the support for gender equality. She also talked about how women athletes still earn less than their male counterparts and how she wants to make a change. Moving on to lacrosse, countries all across the world are competing in the Women's World Box Lacrosse Championships. Our reporter Ryan Sheridan has more on why this year is so special for women in lacrosse.
2024 marks the very first year women are allowed to compete in this prestigious tournament, and Canada has had an incredible start. One of their elite players is Megan Kinna from Maple Ridge. She began playing boys lacrosse at the age of 4 and is now a scoring leader on her team. Kinna made history by taking the very first face-off of the tournament. She explains how this is just the beginning of girls box lacrosse.
Women have never had the opportunity to be able to compete in a world box lacrosse event before. So I think just worldwide, the opportunities are just going to keep sprouting up. And I think this is just the showcasing what women can really prove on a world level.
10 countries are competing in the women's division with a hope that the sport continues to grow. Ryan Sheridan, BCIT's The Crow.
Our reporter Ryan Sheridan is here with more. Ryan, you said Canada has had an incredible start. What are the specifics of Canada's first 3 games?
Yeah, Lauren, like I said, they are doing amazing. Canada is definitely more developed when it comes to the sport of box lacrosse, and the Canadian girls are actually yet to lose a game. They actually beat Finland 31-0. They beat Australia 26-0, and they defeated Germany 28-0. And they're actually, of course, yet to surrender even a goal. So they're doing very, very well.
Thanks, Ryan. So when does Team Canada play next?
Team Canada actually plays tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time against Ireland. Back to you, Lauren.
Thank you, Ryan. Moving on to football, the CFL's 9 teams will wear Indigenous design logos to commemorate the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation during its Week 17 games. Created by local Indigenous artists, the logos can be seen on players' helmets and on the broadcasts of different channels, including TSN. Their goal is to recognize and focus on Canada's Indigenous history, but also the path towards education, action, and overall awareness. The BC Lions announced their new addition to their practice roster. The team signed 6 American players. Their positions include wide receivers, a linebacker, defensive lineman, and defensive back. All 6 players will join the team on Monday's practice as the BC Lions prepare for a Week 17 home game. They play against the Hamilton Tiger Cats this Friday. There are 2 Monday Night Football games to watch tonight. The Jaguars will face off the Buffalo Bills at 4:30, and the Washington Commanders will play the Cincinnati Bengals at 5:15. Stay tuned for the sports comment. Are football player stats the be-all end-all of how good they are? That's coming up. This has been your Sports Update to 3:45. I'm Lauren Achille, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow. Thanks for listening.
Stay tuned for more.
Playoff disappointment has become all too common for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs' current core of Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Riley have won only a single playoff series since the 2016-17 season. With questions surrounding the ability of the core, some fans are begging for a change. Leafs forward Mitch Marner is due for a big payday this coming offseason. The 27-year-old has averaged 1.1 points per game in the regular season, but that dips down to 0.87 in the playoffs. Some players just aren't built for playoff hockey. In 57 career playoff games, Marner has tallied only 11 goals. The Leafs need to take advantage of Marner's regular season value and trade him immediately before he walks away for free this offseason. The Leafs should look to the current Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers for their blueprint. The Panthers traded star forward Jonathan Huberdeau coming off a 115-point season and pending free agent defense Mackenzie Weegar to the Flames. In return, the Flames received Flames star forward Matthew Tkachuk, who they signed to a cheaper deal, resetting the clock on its top forward. This trade freed up some cap space to add more depth and freshen up its core. The Leafs need to do something similar with Marner before the inevitable happens again, another playoff failure. They should not extend Marner and spread the cash elsewhere in hopes of propelling them to a Stanley Cup. I'm Spencer Pomeroy, and that's today's Sports Comment.